Space debris and climate change, a hidden link threatening orbiting infrastructure. How climate change is making space more dangerous. When we think about climate change, we picture melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and extreme weather. But what if we told you that it's also affecting outer space? That's right, climate change is quietly reshaping the space around Earth, and not in a good way. It's making space debris more dangerous and persistent, threatening the satellites we depend on every day. Let's explore how this works and why it matters more than you might think. Climate change in the upper atmosphere. You've probably heard that greenhouse gases like CO2 trap heat in the Earth's atmosphere. But in the upper atmosphere, especially the thermosphere about 90 to 600 kilometers above Earth, CO2 has the opposite effect. It actually radiates heat into space, causing this layer to cool down and contract. As the thermosphere cools, the air becomes thinner. Atmospheric drag on objects in orbit decreases. This may not sound like a big deal until you realize what's floating up there. Space debris, the junkyard in orbit. Above us, there are thousands of satellites, some active, many dead, and millions of pieces of debris. Broken parts of rockets, shattered satellite fragments, lost tools from astronauts, even flakes of paint. These objects orbit Earth at incredible speeds, and even a tiny fragment can cause catastrophic damage. Usually, Earth's atmosphere helps clean up this mess. Over time, drag from the upper layers slows down debris, pulling it back to Earth where it burns up safely. But as the atmosphere thins due to climate change, that natural cleaning process weakens. Result: space junk stays in orbit longer, more chances for collisions, more debris created in a chain reaction scientists call the Kessler syndrome. Why should we care? Because we depend on space more than ever: GPS for navigation, weather satellites for storm tracking, telecom satellites for internet, TV, and phone signals, Earth observation for climate and environmental monitoring, military and defense systems. More debris increases the risk of damaging or losing access to these vital services. A collision with the International Space Station or an essential satellite could be disastrous both in human and financial terms. What's being done about it? Fortunately, space agencies and private companies are working on solutions. ESA's Clear Space One mission aims to physically remove a piece of space junk in 2026. NASA and others are investing in deorbiting tech like drag sails and electrodynamic tethers. Laser nudging systems are being tested to gently push debris into re-entry orbits. Global policymakers are working on orbital sustainability guidelines, though enforcement remains a challenge. A surprising feedback loop. This is a strange new twist. Human-caused climate change is now making space operations more hazardous, and in turn, crowded orbits could interfere with satellite-based climate monitoring and disaster response systems. We are seeing a feedback loop where problems on Earth are making space riskier, and risks in space may eventually impact how we solve problems on Earth. Final thoughts. Climate change isn't just an Earth-bound issue. Its effects ripple far beyond what we see and feel in our daily lives. The skies above, once thought to be vast and empty, are now crowded and fragile. It's time we start thinking of space as part of the environment we must protect. Because if we don't, we might soon find ourselves trapped under a shell of our own discarded satellites, cut off from the very tools we need to save our planet.